Hi everyone, welcome to A Beer with Brad episode 19. Tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about the upcoming art fair and a couple old cameras I picked up. But first, let's talk about the beer. Tonight I'm having an Oktoberfest by Toppling Goliath Brewing. Toppling Goliath is over in Decorah, Iowa. I would say they're easily in the top 3 most popular breweries in Iowa. There's probably a lot of people would say they are Iowa's most popular brewery, but I would say top 3 for sure. They're really known for a lot of their IPAs and then some of their dark stouts. They do a lot of really limited edition dark stouts that they have kind of like a lottery for, and people wait in line, and it's a whole big weekend made out of it to get some of those dark beers. But around here in the Omaha area, Omaha Council West, they're really known for their IPAs. So I went a different route and picked up something a little lighter, a nice Oktoberfest beer. September is the beginning of the Oktoberfest celebration. There's all the Septemberfest celebrations, probably start the weekend after Labor Day and kind of run through the end of September into that first week of October. So it's a great time of year, great time to pick up a lot of Oktoberfest beers. Funny thing about Toppling Goliath Brewing is that for a long time you could only get their best beers in Iowa before they really started picking up their distribution in Omaha and in Nebraska. And so there was a group of us, and we were always heading over to Council Bluffs to look for the hidden gems that would come in. I just remember there was a lot of Friday mornings when the beer truck would get there. One of us would go over to Council Bluffs and see what we could find. We kind of took turns picking up different things. Now pretty much everything you can get over in Iowa, you can get here as far as the IPAs that go mass produced and get distributed all over the Midwest. But Toppling Goliath, great brewery. The reason we kind of stopped doing that is we got so many more great breweries in Omaha now where you can find just as good, if not better, beers here in Omaha. So it was fun doing that for a while, but it's things change and tastes change, and competition changes things too. So still a great brewery, and I still enjoy their beer. So Oktoberfest by Toppling Goliath. Cheers. The Oktoberfest is also a good time of year because it means that the fall colors are on their way and the cooler temperatures. And like most photographers, most landscape photographers, I just love getting out and taking pictures of the fall colors. And usually my annual photography trip is usually always in the fall, going somewhere to photograph the landscape. So this year looks to be no different. Hoping to have something nailed down here in the next few weeks about a little fall trip out to Colorado. So see what happens. Take one more sip of that. That's good. So when we were out in Utah a couple weeks ago, my uncle told me that he had a couple more of my grandfather's cameras, my mom's dad. So I told you in a previous video about I had the Canon that came from him, and I assumed that was his main camera, and it probably was later on, but they had 2 of these really early cameras and asked if I wanted them, and I said sure. So now I'm up to 3 from my grandfather on my mom's side, my great-grandpa on my dad's side. I have 1. This is from a family friend, and I have my 2 cameras from college. So kind of I never intended to collect old cameras, but it's just kind of growing. But they all have some kind of special meaning, so it's a little bit different. It's not like I'm just out collecting cameras to collect cameras. But this one here is a Polaroid, an instant camera. You used to put a pack of Polaroid film in there, and you take the picture, and you pull a Polaroid out, develop in about 1.5 to 2 minutes. The interesting thing about these, and I didn't realize, is in college we used Polaroid in our 4x5 cameras. We always took a test shot on the Polaroid film, check for exposure, and then we put the real the real film holder in after we take the Polaroid film holder out, put the real film holder in, and take our picture. So it's kind of Polaroids had a lot more uses than just what people think of the little white square bottom film. This one was a little bit different because it was more of a rectangle format, not the square like the later Polaroids had. But the interesting thing about this, you could still buy film for it until 2017. Fuji was the last one to make it, and Fuji quit making it in 2017. There is a ton of Fuji Polaroid film for this camera on eBay. Now, the interesting thing is it's super expensive now, and it's all expired. Or they quit making it in 2016, so it all expired in 2017. I don't know, but most people claim that they've been storing theirs in their refrigerator or freezer, so it should still be good. It would be fun to take some Polaroids on this, but for the price that they're asking, it would be somewhere in the, the 10 pack for 10, so you get 10 pictures for like $100 some, and I just don't know that that's worth it. It would be fun, but it's still cool to have the old Polaroid camera, and from everything I can tell, I've played with it, everything on it seems to be working. The only thing I couldn't tell, just by looking at it, is if it would have any light leaks in it. And sometimes on older cameras, that as they get bounced around and beat around, that they do get some light leaks, then it would just be ruining expensive films. So the other camera that I didn't know anything about, and it was in a leather case, which is sitting over there, but it had a nice leather case around it. I took it out just for this video, is the Argus. It's a 35 millimeter rangefinder camera, and as far as I can tell, same thing with that one. Everything on this still works. You can still load 35 millimeter film there. It looks to be in really nice condition, so I probably could put a roll of 35 millimeter film in there and do some photography with it. I don't know, 35 millimeter film is still out there and still available, so maybe I'll have to play with that a little bit. This was, I guess they called it the brick because it's perfectly rectangle like a brick, and it also feels like a brick. It is really heavy, so that's what I read about it. I did a little reading about it after I got both of these. I kind of looked into them and just to see a little bit more about them. So kind of cool. I'm gonna have to figure out where to arrange the shelves to get them up here with some of my other stuff. So we'll see. Maybe by the next episode or two, they will be up there. So since this is the September episode, just over a week from now will be the the annual Rockbrook Village Art Fair. And I've been doing a lot of work over the last month trying to get everything ready. I don't know why this year it feels like just a little bit behind, or maybe I have just a little bit more going on and I feel like I'm behind, but just trying to make sure I have enough photos and enough stuff to hang on the wall at the end of the Rockbrook at the Countryside Art Fair this year. Earlier this year, I sold quite a few things that were hanging on the wall, so I had to make sure I had enough to fill the tent this time. And if you remember that art fair, it stormed at the end, so I was going through some things, you're still cleaning the tent. You had a lot of little loose ends that I probably should have taken care of sooner, but I waited till the last minute. So for tonight's video, I was drawing a blank on what to talk about, and it's kind of been so busy that, first of all, I realized just yesterday that I needed to record tonight to get this out by the first Thursday of the month. I thought I had a whole nother week, but since the first falls on a Thursday and I wanted to keep my 18, now 19 streak going of videos on time, I figured I need to get it done tonight, so I asked I asked one of my buddies what I should talk about. And he said Josh, the guy I do a lot of the fall photography trips with, said that I should talk about how I decide what to bring to art fairs. And I was telling my wife that, and she said that I should talk about how people should select photos at the art fairs for, to buy, which pictures they should buy, how they should choose. And so they're kind of the same question, but in two different things. One is a lot easier to answer than the other, and so I thought maybe I'll try to answer both. It's kind of funny because Josh is a photographer that used to do art fairs, and so he's kind of coming from that perspective, and my wife has the other perspective where she would choose what to decorate the house with. So as far as the art fairs, there's no rhyme or reason to it. I mean, I'll bring pictures that I think will sell right away, and I never do. They just never sell. They sit there forever and ever and ever. And then there's pictures that I thought, oh, this is kind of neat to me, but I don't know who will like it, and I'll put it up, and it'll go right away. So there's never a reason to how things sell. And it's funny too, because you'll have pictures for a long time that won't sell, and you're almost done bringing them, and then all of a sudden someone will come in and they're like, oh, I've been looking for a picture just like this. And you think to yourself, where have you been for the last 10 years? But So I try to just have a little bit of mix, kind of half cityscapes and half landscapes. And I guess I should break that down. A big chunk of cityscapes, a big chunk of landscapes, and I always try to have some train stuff there, and then a few kind of sports stuff, not like action sports stuff, but more like if I take an aerial photo of, say downtown with the baseball stadium in it, some fireworks over a baseball stadium, things like that. Just a little bit of sports. I try to just have a little bit of everything that, it's interesting, a lot of husbands and wives will go to the art fair together, and they'll each be drawn into your tent by completely different things. So it's kind of fun to see which one, like the wife will go in and walk straight to one picture, and then the husband will walk in and go straight to another picture. So it's always good to have a good variety. As far as the sizes and materials, I try to keep basically three sizes. I have 12 by 18 prints, which is just a nice size print where people can flip through, see the detail. They're not too big where I can have a lot of them, so there's a lot of variety for people to look at. They're not too expensive, so a lot of people can afford them, and they're decent size to hang on the wall, but they're not overpowering. You could find a spot for it if you just saw a picture and you liked it. You could pick it up and you could find a place for it. As far as the bigger things, I try to have 16 by 24, and then the rest of the pictures I have are 36 inches wide, so either 24 by 36, 18 by 36, or I think there's some that are 9 by 36, or 12 by 36. And the reason I go with the 36 is the tent is 10 feet by 10 feet. So if you had three pictures that are 3 foot wide each, give a little gap in between, a little gap on the edge. It's a good dimension that fills the wall. And then the 16 by 24 is the same way, where the 24, you get 4 of them along the side of the tent. It fits it perfect. So it's kind of how I came up with those sizes. There's no exact reason, that's not a popular size that people love or whatever. It makes the tent look the best, I think. So, and then I try to have just different materials. I usually have a few canvas prints. I usually have some metal prints, and then I have my wood, the plaque mount prints, and then usually there's a handful of frame pictures. A lot of the frame pictures are older. I still like a really nice frame picture, especially with a nice matte black frame. And the problem with the framing is, there's so many different colors of frames, so many different colors of mats, and you pick the wrong one, and it will just turn people off. They can't see past the color, even though they could get the print and completely reframe it in something else, or go a different direction. So I don't do too many frames. That said, I am working on a project that I'll hopefully have a video out in the next couple months for, with some framing stuff that'll be pretty cool. So in the past there was a couple years where I would sell metal prints and nothing but metal prints, and they would go flying out of there. And then it was the wood prints, and the wood prints were really popular. And then I had a lot of canvas prints, and I bet I went 5 years without selling a single canvas print. And then this year, 2022, all I've sold, I feel like, is canvas prints. I mean, it's just amazing how many people order canvas prints right now. And I don't know why, or if everything just kind of is in a cycle. The cool thing about canvas is they're made locally, so the turnaround time is really good. It's a sport and a local business here in Omaha. They're pretty versatile. They're not too modern, where they will go, they'll go with a lot of things. Canvas prints you can also frame, so there's just a lot you can do with them, and they're really durable. So I think this year at the art fair there'll be a few more bigger canvases than you've seen in a while. I also had some little ones, which economically I think the big ones, the price of the big one is more justifiable than the price of the small one. So as far as the other question about what picture should you buy for your house, and that's a tough call. Everyone's tastes are so different, just like the reason I have so many different kinds of prints at the art fair. The things I would say is, don't rush to buy something that you're not ready for. Make sure that you get the right size. If you put a 36-inch wide picture above an 8-foot couch, it's going to look pretty small. So maybe if you don't want a massive picture above there, maybe you go with two, a little bit smaller ones. They fill the space better. And then as far as what style, you kind of want something that blends in. So either get something that matches completely, or if the only other way you could go around that would be just to get something that like every piece was completely different, so it was like a total like collage of different things. I'm not like one of those people that I could just say like this would goes with this goes with. I'm a really visual person, in all aspects of my life. I see things, I know what fits, I know what goes well. So without seeing something, it's hard for me to pick something out for you. But you could always. I have had people take pictures of their living room and show up at the art fair and show me what space they want to fill. That's super cool. I can help them out pretty easy with that. To me, that's a lot easier to answer than just saying without seeing the space. So I'm always available to help you pick something, even if it's not at the art fair. If you want to email me pictures or call and show me some pictures, I can always help you pick something out or help you pick a style that will go with what you have. So I hope that answers that question. Again, the art fair is next weekend, September 11th, 10th and 11th, Saturday and Sunday, and it goes from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. both days. I am pretty close to the center. Rockford Village has the plaza in the center, and I am pretty close to the plaza on the west end of it on the main row. So I believe there's a big flagpole kind of right near my tent, right behind my tent. So right in that area, look for me. I'll put some reminders out on social media in the next couple of weeks. But I hope to see everyone there, and hope you come out and enjoy everyone's art, not just mine. There's a lot of great artists there, a lot of really talented people that make a lot of really neat things. I've been doing the art fairs for well over a decade now, so I've got to know a lot of these artists, and there's a lot of really cool people with some really interesting backgrounds and just a lot of talent there. So stop by, chat with the artists, see what you see, take home some items that you like, and hope you just enjoy it. Hopefully we have a great weather weekend. This time of year is kind of there's a lot of good weekends, but every once in a while there'll be one that's really hot or really wet. So hopefully we have a nice sunny warm weekend, and everyone enjoys it. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you again next month.